We will be continuing on with this series, and like I said last time, I wanted to focus this episode on doing some assets, so it looks slightly better. Of course, all of the assets will be basic stuff that anyone could replicate using free software. So to save the effort of doing the assets, where are we? I've created some preset assets, which are in here. These will be the assets that we'll be using for this part. Now, those are the programs that I'll use for this, that I use for these assets. So this is for creating simple retro sounds. It's a free software. So is that one for creating music. And then I use Paint and GIMP for any 2D. As you can see, I'm not exactly good at doing assets. I'm not exactly skilled, but nevertheless, it's good enough for prototyping, and this is exactly what we're doing. So I'll start off by exporting all of our assets into our project. So all I'm going to do now is just drag and, well, actually, before we drag and drop, let's create a new folder for sounds. And now that we have a sounds folder, actually, let's put that into the, let's just leave it here. And let's put it, drag all of the sounds in. Now, I'll separate them into two folders. So first is going to be the music, and the other one is just going to be SFX, which is every other effect that we'll have. Now that we have these, we can delete that from here. And if you go into resources, images, I want to replace some of these with new ones. So I'll again try to make it slightly neater. So I'll have UI, editor, and for editor, I believe it's going to be the following tiles, like so. Where are we? Oh, also these two as well. Now, for the UI proportion, so we're going to put in these guys. I believe these can go away now. This will stay as it's just a default. Let's actually make a new one for icons. And this is where we will have our, there we go, these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. We put the UI stuff in? Yeah, we did. So now we can get rid of that. Actually, in icons, we need the lock as well. These can go away now. I'll put this one in here. So this is going to be our front page. What this is essentially is just a picture of the gameplay that I posted. We'll maybe update this later. The old bar for health bar can go away, and we'll replace it with these ones. And then, like I said in last part, I wanted to make some particles, but I'm really bad at particles, so I didn't want to spend hours trying to figure out how to do it. So I just did this off screen. So here's a little asset pack that I've created just for this. I'll just move everything into correct places now that we have them. Go away. We'll need a new folder in the resources, which is going to be called shaders, because we do have a very simple shader. For anyone who would like to replicate it, is all I'm doing is just using the legacy shader particles and then alpha blend, which is here. Where are we? Particles, and that one here. And then all that does, and then I just dragged in the image that I've created. So let's drag it to the appropriate folders so it doesn't look as messy as it does right now. And finally, we have a new set of prefabs for the particles, which I'll go over in a second. Of course, when this project will be finished, the entire project will be available to download through GitHub. So, yeah. So anyone can have a look at these. Where are we? Resources, prefabs, and let's just put particles like so. And let's go back to our little asset pack and drag in our particles out of here. And now you can get rid of this folder. Wait, let's just double check that I've moved everything. Yep, like so. And for the particles, I'm just quickly going to show them before we implement them into the game. So let's just go over everything one more time. Where are we? So what I essentially did was just draw 3 different types of, I guess, cloud examples, and how it's going to look in the particle, well, is like so. So we have the blue lines for shooting. So every time we shoot, it'll just display these lines from the muzzle of the gun. I might have to create some more particles somewhere along the line. Second, so this is going to be for explosion impacts. It actually uses gravity and collides with surfaces, so it's going to bounce off anything that has a box collider attached to it. And finally, this is going to be the smoke that comes out from firing guns to show that it's steaming. Well, like an actual gun would have a smoke after each bullet fires. Additionally, we're trying to make some prototype enemies, which I believe is not this scene, or is it this scene? It is this scene. So there we go. So this is our default guy, and what we'll have is, for the frozen effect, we will just attach a see-through frozen cube. So that's something that we'll be adding today. And just to make it simple, I decided to have 4 different enemies with 4 different colors, with every enemy having more health than the other. For the bosses, I was thinking of just adding a little hat on top of them with different designs to show that they're the boss unit in the game, and that's something that we'll go with most likely in the future. Anyway, now we can jump into adding everything in. So if you go to the main menu, and let's get rid of anything we don't need for a second. So firstly, let's disable everything. We have now a background image. So I'll add a new image. Where are we? This is going to be the background. And the background image is going to be the little image that I've made. Let's actually full screen it. Where are we? Script? No. Resources, images. And let's just change this to a 2D sprite. Like so. And we can now drag this in here. So that's basically what we'll have. And then we're going to have the buttons on top of it. So let's enable the buttons first. Of course, the background has to be at the very top. So this is what our buttons look like currently. I was thinking of moving it to all the way to the left. So it would be like this, and make it slightly, way bigger. So it's going to go across the entire side of the canvas. Like so. What do we have? Yeah. And then for the buttons, of course, we have a new UI image for them, and that's the normal button. Oh yeah. Let's change them all to. I actually don't know what it's going to look like. I didn't test it prior. I was just like, yeah, however it's going to look, that's how it's going to look. Okay, so they're like this, and that means that the text color will have to change. I'm actually going to make it bold so it's more visible, and I think the color will have to be either completely black or white. White looks better. And then finally, the panel itself will get a little icon like this. We're just going to remove the alpha. Oh, that looks bad. I didn't expect it to look this bad. Let's have a look and whatever. Wait, actually, what happens if we preserve the aspect ratio? Yeah, so if you preserve, it looks good with preserved aspect ratio, but it's way too small. Yeah, there you go. This is where my inexperience as a artist comes in. What can I do to make it look slightly better? Actually, we can just, rather than doing that, I'm going to create a new panel. And I'll put this panel inside. I'm going to get rid of this vertical layout component. And I'm just going to call it, so all of the buttons will be inside of this middle panel here. Instead, I think I have to remove it. Where are you? Panel, panel, panel. Like so. But that means that the buttons are going to be extremely small. Let's make this bigger. Oh, yeah, like so. Where is it? I think we can make it work without me having to do work, extra work. Yeah, so that'll keep it nicely scaled. It's there on the side. These actually look pretty nice. Okay. And now we're going to resize this panel here. So it's, what? Okay, buttons, hide yourselves. Wait. Okay. This will, the scaling should be fine. And now that if we drag the buttons inside of our holder and we apply our vertical layout group, I reversed the order of these. What? There we go. Now this will look better. Middle center. Yeah, we're gonna go with this. So I don't have to redo anything. Okay, so like I said, I want to have a highlight when we press on them, because currently if we press play, what's gonna happen is, there you go, there is like a highlight, but that's the highlight from the button component, and that slightly tints it. But the thing is, it doesn't look as organic as it could. There you go. So it changes everything, but I don't really want to change these lines when I highlight. So instead, I made my own highlight. So what I'll do is, instead of having tint, I'll just, well, yeah, so I could use this. Yeah, so I'm just going to use actually a sprite. I've never used this before. Oh, let's try a sprite scroll and change to highlight in here. We'll also set it as pressed. Let's see if it works. Yeah, there we go. So that looks way better now. Are we not set? Oh, I don't want them to be maximized on play. Yeah, there we go. So with this, we have the first section done. Now let's work on the other ones. So let's move everything down. Wait, where are we? Where is the... Okay. So now the level selection slightly off. We'll change that as well. So we'll apply the exact same window that we had there. We'll center it. Now this set of text has to now be changed to white and bold, like this. Actually looks pretty good. And this panel, so firstly we'll remove the image, the background image from here. We'll have to make it smaller, and that already creates some minor issues, but that's okay. We'll fix them in a second. Let's actually change these guys around as well. Text, select level. And here we will just reduce the size of the icons. No. 95? Oh, of course you would. Mm. Okay, let's keep it as 100 by 100, but the spacing is gonna go away to 45 by 40. Oh, I guess we're just gonna leave it as that. Okay, so these buttons actually might need some change because it doesn't look the best right now, but for now, since I didn't prepare anything for this, we'll leave it as this. Yeah. Wait, why is there a slight... Oh, that's right, because this actually has an image component. Okay, so with this scene done, let's move on to the game scene and do the exact same thing for the game scene that we did in the other panel. So let's start off with the purchasable towers. First thing we're going to do is we will go with the towers. So the availability icon will disappear and will be changed to the new icon. Wait, let's go into icons and actually set everything to 2D and sprite. So yeah, so now we have a brand new availability icon. I would say it looks way better than the previous one. It's like little chains. It took me ages to make this in Paint, so don't judge. Um, yeah, the outline bit is going to be changed to the little background. Oh, and that looks really bad. Okay, let's... interesting. Yeah, it looked really bad. Didn't expect that to be this bad. You know what? I just have to deal with it. I should have made it bigger size. I probably made it like 100 pixels by something, but this should have been a way bigger size, so it looks more decent. Oh well. We'll just keep rolling with the tape. In the scriptable objects, we will change the default images for the tower. So there we go. We will have the burn, amazing burn icon. The cannon is gonna have the cannon icon. Where is it? This one actually looks alright. Uh, where is it? Freeze. This looks like some religious sign. uh, and then finally the basic one. There we go. Now with this, next panel will look awful as well. Oh, actually not too bad. And replace all the buttons. Where are we? Normal button. And again, we're just going to change it to sprite swap, and we'll put the highlight press like so. And for the text, we will change it to bold, and we will make it white. Actually, while we're at it, let's change the text components of the there we go, of the pricing. So everything is bold. Maybe change it to a full black color rather than a slight tint. Now for this button, we'll do the same, but we'll be changing the color manually. So I'll select none here, put the normal button in here, but the rest we will set ourselves with code later. And bold. There you go. Let's select the remaining texts and bold them as well. There we go, way better. Now let's give this a play and see what it's going to look like. I originally intended to make my own font, but then I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. Great. Apart from, yeah, great. Actually, Can I? Let's see what it's going to look like if I replace it with this one. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one. The other one's not as good as this one, to be honest. Yeah, we'll just leave it as this. Now with this done, what was next? Oh yeah, there are a few issues with the towers that we had from the last version, and of course we still have more assets to implement. What are the remaining assets? The sounds. Yeah. So let's go into the code for the towers, and we're going to fix the ice, not icing, and we will add the cannon tower. So for cannon tower, I'm going to go with a parabola effect for shooting. So basically, what a parabola is so if we have our tower here at point A and our enemies at point B, then, well, if we shoot a straight bullet, then that just moves from point A to B in a straight line. But what a parabola does is it gives you an arc, basically. And you determine that, and in parabola, there is a mathematical formula online for this. I don't know the formula off the top of my head, so I pre-prepared it for this video, so I don't have to suffer. So we'll be doing that. So if we go into our tower, the tower cannon, and the script for the parabola bullet, we'll set this up so we can shoot. Later on in a different episode, we will add the ability to. So we will have to make a new class for the parabola, which will just inherit from the bullet. I think that should be the best way to do it. So what do we have here? So every bullet sets the bullet damage and the target, which is the position that we want to go to. The update function is actually something that will be different per type of bullet. So what I'll do here is I'll create private void bullet travel, and I'm just going to copy all of that, paste it here, get rid of this, and put bullet travel here, like so. And let's make a new class. So we're going to create a cannon bullet instead. So in our scripts, let's go into wherever the bullet is. I presume in towers, yeah. And let's create a cannon bullet. Now that we have cannon bullet, we can open it. And first thing we'll do is, instead of having a mono behavior, we will just make it inherit from the bullet. So right now, our cannon bullet is identical to the bullet script. Let's remove the bullet from the cannon tower and put in a cannon bullet, like so. And what we're going to do differently is we're going to, where are we? In the bullet. So what we'll do is, since we want to change this method in the bullet, we will do we'll make this a virtual function. And of course it has to be public. And here we will do public override, and we're just gonna override the bullet. We don't want to have the base functionality of the bullet. And with this done, we can start programming. So first, the parabola function that I spoke of. So it's going to be a private vector free. I'm going to call it parabola because that's exactly what it is. And it takes a vector free, which is our start position, a vector free, which is our end position. It will take in a float for height, so that's how tall the arc is going to be, and finally float time for basically the time it takes to travel. Now, so this is where the formula part comes in, and let's make it. I need to focus slightly so I don't do it wrong. So what will happen is we will be lerping basically between the values. So that's the start position and the end position, followed by time. There we go, like so. And we'll be returning our new vector free, which is going to be the position, and we're going to return it like so. And now I have too many brackets. Where did the bracket problem come from? There we go. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. It made 2 instead. Okay, so that's so every time I want to call the parabola, we're just going to call this specific function for the bullet. Now, our bullet will need to have a few values, which is going to be what's going to be used to call in the parabola effect. So, firstly, we need time. So let's create an on enable and create some variables to go with it. So we'll have our start time. We'll have the start position. We're going to have our end position. Actually, that might conflict. With our actual values. There we go. Like so. Go away. Yeah, that's fine. So our start position will always be this dot transform the position. So this position is the start position. The end position is going to be fed through our target transform. So it's going to be, of course, target now has to be available. Where are we go? Target. Where is target? There we go. So to be able to access target, we need to have a getter and setter. So that'll be the target dot transform dot position. Our start time is going to equal to time dot time. And then finally, you're going to get one more value, which is going to be the length of the journey. And we're going to get that by using vector free dot distance between our start position and our end position. Oh, that's right. Like so. Now that we have everything set up, when we actually end position will be not available at this point. The end position has to be set when the target is set, which means that our set bullet has to be also overridable. It's already public. And where are we? Set bullet. So what we'll here do is we shall run our we'll run the base, but we will also at the end just run this in here. Interesting. What? Oh, what am I even doing? Public override. I wanted set bullet. There we go. Go away. There you go. So now we run the set bullet code, and then we do run the end position attachment, which will get us all of the variables that we need to be able to make the bullet travel. Now for the bullet travel, we'll just simply do time to time, like so. And then, do we have a speed variable in here? Yes, we do. So let's make use of that, and we'll do bullet speed, and then I'm just gonna do our, where are we? Just gonna copy this in here, and then finally it's gonna be a distance covered divided by the length of our journey, and with this we can transform the position, move our object with our parabola class. There we go, like so. And we're going to pass in our start position, end position. Actually we need another variable, which is going to be, let's just manually assign it. And it's going to be the bullet top point. Top point, and then finally we need a fraction or a variable that we created here, and we're going to times it by the speed, like so. So with this, our entire parabola for the code is correct. So let's just make some comments. So how high in the bullet will travel? And actually, let's set to a value so we can test it. The start position of our bullet. Now, what the initial time when the bullet spawns. The initial position of the bullet. Desired end position for the bullet. Time in which the bullet travels. And it sets the default values. Sets the bullet target and damage values. Now makes the bullet move in a desired parabola way, and finally the parabola function, like so. With this, we have the entire cannon bullet finished for the parabola. We had some issues with the one of the towers, which was, where are we? Which was the, what's the time anyway? Where are we? Streamlabs. How long have I been live for? Okay, why can I not check? Oh, there we go, 35 minutes. So I have 25 minutes left. Yeah, so let's go into the tower scripts and work on the freezing tower. It would be slow movement, wouldn't be? Yeah, so enemy movement is what we need. Let's get rid of these, get rid of these, get rid of these, and get rid of these. So this didn't work out as intended. I'm just gonna, to make it simple, we will set this is the slow speed. Actually, I don't want it to be private float slow speed. So slow speed is going to be essentially slow speed is equal to our speed divided by 2. That's what slow speed is. And what's going to happen is we're going to feed a boolean through is slow. And what's going to happen here is so what's going to happen here is we'll do private bool is slow. By default, we're going to set it to false. When we spawn, we're going to make it false. And we're just going to make equal is slow to is slow like so. In the update, we will just do if is slow is equal to false, then actually speed, let's change this to private float current speed, and then current speed is equal to speed. So if slow is false, then current speed is equal to speed, and then else if is slow is equal to true, then our current speed is equal to slow speed. Now that we have this, we just simply change our everywhere speed gets called in the update to current speed. With this, we fixed that, but the only thing that we don't have yet is, well, let's change this to true. Yeah, what we'll have to do is basically reset it back to what it should be when it's not being called. But yeah, that's that part done. We'll no longer get the enemies being moved back. Let's just give it a try. Where are we? The slow tower. Oh, there we go. Our little chains work as intended. Start the wave. There we go. So as we see, the enemies get all slowed down. But they're not really doing any damage to the enemies. What's slow factor? Slow factor can go away. Don't need it anymore. Is damage really low for this tower? Okay, let's give this a test, try it, see if it works. And then afterwards we gonna, oh, see Daisy coming. Where are the enemies? Number 1 enemy. Where's your health? Prefabs, enemy. Let's make health visible for now so we can test it. And let's play it. It doesn't look like he's losing any health. Oh, he is. The health bar is not being updated. Interesting. Why is health bar not being updated? Oh, it's not that the health bar is not being updated. It's just that we've actually removed the functionality of the health bar and we didn't attach the new health. Now that I think about it. So what we'll do is we're going to go into our health canvas, and this needs a slight change as well. Actually, it'll be easier if we just open it in prefab editor. So our first biggest change is if we go into images, icon, no, not icons, just in here, I guess. Now our background is changed to health background. So let's set these three guys up. Now health background is our little red icon. Health foreground is our new green, which doesn't have to be this. This doesn't have to be that either because they have their own color. Now the foreground has to be, oh, there you go. It's automatically set to filled like it was. There you go. It looks way neater now than it used to. And we will add another part on top of this, which we can leave here, which is going to be our, it's going to be our overlay health bar. I believe it will have to be, why is it not visible? Oh, it is visible. That's such a small thing. It's so barely visible, but it does its job. So now, if you go back into the scene, let's just remove the enemy and press play. That should be that fix done. There we go. Let's put our freeze tower. The health is being, why is it being, yeah, so it's being retracted from the wrong way. Where are you, enemy? You're not, I'm not done with you yet. Enemy, enemy, enemy. Prefabs, prefabs. Okay. Oh, that's better, but I think it's the perspective from the broken camera, the camera focus point. But that will be done and fixed soon. Probably maybe in the next or the following video after that. What was the next thing that we wanted to add? Let's have a look at the list. Oh yeah, so now that we have our enemies, I kind of want to add a way to show that we've managed to defeat our enemy and add the particles in as well. That particles and sounds, or actually, I'm going to leave sounds for a separate video where all of the sounds get added together. So here we have our enemy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unpack this prefab. I'm going to remove everything that's attached to it, and I'm going to change the color, remove all of the scripts as well. Where are we? No need for rigid body. No need to be able to select it. It doesn't need a console collider either. We're going to go into these guys and add a white color to the enemy. I'm also going to add a new cube. Now you might be thinking, what am I doing? Well, I'm going to add a way to show that we've defeated this specific enemy. There we go. There we go. Someone can already tell I'm giving him wings. Let's make it slightly bigger. There we go. Just perfect. And another one on the other side. There we go. It kind of looked like big ears. Wing right. but that's okay because this is just a prototype. So with this done, I'm gonna go into scripts. Is there nothing for enemies? And we'll do the enemy def. So this is how we're gonna kill off our enemy. And this is gonna be very simple. We'll make a private transform our start position. We'll have a private float speed at which we move. And on enable, we will do start position is equal to this.transform. Now, the reason why I'm using enable now instead of start is because start only gets run once when the object gets generated, whereas enable every time it turns to active. If we want to pull these, we can't really use start for setting specific values. And then what I'm going to do here is I'll invoke a method that will just destroy the object. Of course, we want to cancel this invoke when the object gets disabled. And here we'll do private destroy void destroy object, like so. And what this will do is it will do game object dot set active, and we're just going to send it to false. So this just disables the object. So what happens is the object starts, this gets called. 1 second later, this gets called, which calls this. And private void update. Now in the update, we'll just move our object. So I'll do start.transform.position is equal to transform.position plus, do we have a speed? Plus speed times time.delta time, and then transform.up. So we're gonna fly all the way up to the sky. Yeah, I kind of got it from a game I used to play called Settlers. I really like how every time you would kill an enemy, their ghosts would start flying to the sky. So let's drag that in. Let's drag in a script, which is going to be the enemy's def. We want to pull them using our pulling system. So I'm going to create an empty game object, and I'm going to attach pulling. I'm going to attach our enemy game object. I'm going to pull, 10. Can it grow? Sure. Let's make it less, actually. There we go. So now we'll call this def pull, like so. And now we can call this on every time our enemy gets killed. So what we'll do here is we will get a new reference. So do serializable for private game private pulling def pull. So on start we will do def pull is equal to, and we'll manually look for the object with its name. So we'll do game object.find, and what is it called? It's called def pull. Def pull component pulling, and that will give us a reference to our def pulling script. And what we'll have to do is when we die, whereas our def take damage here, we will do def pull dot get pulled object. So what I'll do actually, so I'll do game object dead object is equal to get pulled object, and we will do dead object dot transform dot position is equal to this dot transform dot position. Dead object dot set active true. So our health reaches 0, we create, well, we get one of our pulled object, we set its position to where our death it happened, and we set this to true. Now, this should work automatically. This doesn't need to be serializable, actually. There we go. So we should give this I'm just going to give this a try. Let's place some basic towers and give this level a go. Oh, they're so bad at killing these towers. Yep, it works. It looks kind of off with the camera angle. Let's actually increase the speed. Make this slightly less. We don't, because it takes a lot of screen, and change that white to a different white, a more see-through color, so it doesn't get in the way as much. So I'm gonna change this to the def anim. Go into prefabs, select this, drag in the def anim, and we're going to change this to transparent. Let's actually put it on scene and see how it's gonna look like whilst I change it. Oh, that's right, the wings have to have that color as well. Make it as white as possible. Let's actually remove any shadows from it. No, definitely not. Yeah, that should be good enough. With this done, we now have the def animation. Talking about animations, let's add a shooting animation for every tower that we have. So here we have our basic tower. Now, what we want to do is we want to add a shooting animation. So the way to do animation, the simplest way to do animations is to select the object, create an animation. Let's create a new folder for animations, and let's call it animations. And we're going to call it the, what tower is this even? The burn tower anim. And essentially what's going to happen is every time the burn tower will shoot, we will just retract both of these guys like so and out. So to make an animation, I'll press record. Wait. Oh, say daisy, nope. So I'm going to set that as our first, and about 30 we'll retract, and then at 1 we'll go back to square 1, which was here, I guess. Wait, yeah, like so. And if we press let go of the plate, there you go, this is what it does. Boom, boom, boom. So we'll just keep calling that every time we shoot. And that's the first animation done. What we now see is that we now have a new component which was automatically attached to our tower called the animator. In the animator, I'm going to save this. And we'll do the exact same thing for the remaining 3 towers. Yeah, it's quite a boring part, but these things have to be done. So again, same thing. We click here, we enter the animations. This is the cannon tower. So cannon tower anim. Show me the tower. Going to open our rotator. Oh, we actually don't have to bother with it as much with the other one. So I'll do here is, again, press the record button. Like 30 seconds in, we want to have our retraction, and then we're out to our default position. I think it's slightly too out on the end. There you go, better. Okay, it's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's just a prototype. Oh, make sure you always let go of that because it's not gonna work as you would want it to. There we go. So we have our second animation, and finally, well, 2 more towers to go. Why is stuff not in the center of this? Weird. Okay. Okay. So again, animation is going to be the freeze tower. Actually, for the freeze tower, we will not have any different animations because we already have the ray. So that will stay. We will actually only create an animation for our gun tower. And that's going to be the exact same animation as we did for the other ones. So it's going to be gun tower anim. Press record. Halfway through, we want to move the gun. Oh, I need to quickly mute myself. How do I mute the audio? Okay, never mind. It seemed to be a spam call. And here I thought it was important. Okay, so what was I doing? Oh, yeah, I was moving this back. Like so. What does it look in our original position? It's about that much in. So we want to get the exact same position for our fire out. And now let's just give us a play. Pooh, pooh, yeah. So with this, we have another finished animation and 3 animations that work. So if we now go into each tower, to the tower script, we're going to have a reference to the animator. So we'll do private anim, make sure is animator, anim. We will in start get a reference to it. We only need to reference it once. We don't need to do it every time. Actually, these guys can go into start as well. There's no need to have enable, at least not for now. And we'll do anim is equal to this dog. Game object of the component animator. Like so. And what's going to happen is every time we will fire, so every time our shoot is going to get called, we will process the animation through. So if our target is not, so basically here, so if anim is not null. We're just gonna do our little anim dot, and this is where we will play the animation. I'm just going to leave it as this for now, because that's not exactly how we're going to do it. So actually, one thing I forgot to do is, if we click on animation, there we go. So we have, yeah. So we will have to play around with this a little bit, but essentially, this is the code that will handle the entire cycle of the animation. The cycle of animation will have to be correspondent to the reload time, which is the rate of fire. So what I'll actually also do is I'll do animation dot speed is equal to rate of fire, like so. So the animation plays as quickly as the rate of fire does. What else did we want to do? Oh yeah. So the freezing tower changes the adds the freezing effect to the enemy. So this is something I want to add as well. So I'm just going to click on an enemy and I'm going to attach a new cube object on top of it. Now let's make the cube bigger and attach the material, the see-through material for the frozen cube, like so. We don't need a box collider around it. And this is going to be frozen unit. Now, what's going to happen is, since freezing gets applied in move, we will add our freezing in movement. So we will do this by creating a serializable private game object, frozen display, like so. And on enable, our frozen display will have to be set to false. And what essentially happens is, where are we? Here we're gonna set, well, actually, let's just go into update. So if we're not frozen, it's set to false. If we are frozen, it's set to true. Just as simple as that. So now every time it will shoot, we will have the frozen bubble around the frozen units, so we know which ones are frozen and which ones are not frozen. Let's just drag this in here, apply. Now let's place a freeze tower down and see how that's going to work. Where is a freeze tower? Right here. And start wave. Ooh. We have an error. Just interesting. With the tower not shooting at all. So I'm going to look into that in a second. What have we done to towers that could potentially... Oh, that's right. This will always ask for an animation for the tower. I think it's better off if we actually do this slightly differently, because we will not have animations for every tower. We will manually drag in the animations instead. There's one more place that gets the animations. There you go, in there. Why are you not shooting, mister? What are we have here? What does... I think the... Wait a minute. Freeze tower overrides the thing entirely. Yeah, that should be fine. It should be all good. What have we done wrong? Oh, so it does run this section of code. Let's have a look. But it never sets our target. And the target is always null. Okay, let's have a look at the. There we go. Let's get rid of anything we don't need. And only open what we have to have. So of course this gets always called, but it never gets a target. But why does it not get a target? Is that your... What's the range? Oh, I think range is our problem. It's the problem child. Yep. Interesting. There we go. Let's revert this to how it was before. And now see if this was actually, yeah, it was, surprisingly. So there you go. We have the icon. Of course, it doesn't disable it afterwards, but that's something we'll have to fix. But it actually looks really nice, if I say so myself. It shows everything as it should. This here should go away, which is already gone. We have an error though. And the error is here. Oh, interesting. Um, let's add on enabled here as well, actually. This will go here. These two will go there. So this will go in here. And then cancel invoke debuff counter. Okay. Why are you empty? Devpool should get this right. Enemy. It actually does have the Devpool. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it will actually have to be moved to an enable as well. Okay. Now, there we go. That should be slightly better. What are we looking at now? Let's clear this out. Now, let's see if it's going to work. It should work. Let's give you... I like how they're constantly firing now. Is it? Wow. Yeah, the damage, the game will need a lot of balancing at some point. We can see the animations in all their glory. Boom, boom. There we go. Everything works fine. Oh, Let's go into bullet. Something that we also have to do, I'll add here, is if target is equal to null, then we can actually call a disable bullet. So we don't have any lingering bullets when there is no target around. This should look better. No, we still have lingering bullets. Why are you... Oh, because they're targeting onto something that's disabled. So, well, we're gonna keep that code there anyway. But in tower, if target is not null and target dot active in hierarchy, it's because we're not destroying the object anymore. It's not going to be null anymore. So everywhere where we check by nulls, it has to be changed to going. So we have to slightly modify a few areas. So if target is not null and target dot wait, if it's not null or active in here, hierarchy is equal to true. Same for that one. Or let's have a look for any other references of this. Or target dot game object dot active in hierarchy is equal to true. Any other references? Nope. What about here? So that's the only reference. Okay, perfect. Let's give this a try. See if that bug's gone. It's still aiming up. It shouldn't aim up. I'm actually gonna... Interesting. Why would they aim up? Tower, tower, tower. But why would it aim up? Wait, could it be that our little thingy is actually considered a... Yes, it is. It has the enemy layer as well. Resources, prefabs. This should not be an enemy. This should be just untagged. Like, so this way we'll never try to look at them. Come on, shoot it, shoot it. Ah! Kill it. Oh, it's still looking up. Why would you look up? Ah, this is bothering me. Wait a minute. Oh, enemy layer, enemy layer. Ah, yes, to the children too. Oh, I think I need to change the fact that it doesn't go over the layers. It looks weird. It feels weird. There you go. Fixed. Um, how much time do we have left? Probably not a lot. Oh, we are 60 minutes over. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna call it quits for now. We'll do in the well more stuff in the next part. Thank you for watching for today, though.